What is going on, everyone? It is Mark here with another video, and today we have a fairly requested video. Another iPad video. So I've had this iPad for over 2 years. This is the item that kind of started this YouTube channel. Please don't watch that video, it is extremely cringy. However, I've gone through a few years of university with it, and now I've graduated and I still use it kind of on the regular. Of course, my use of it kind of transferred from taking notes to more of the entertainment part of the iPad. But let me kind of explain the story of this iPad, how it helped me in school, how it helps me now, what I do with it now, and what I did with it before while I was in school. Really quickly, let's talk about the iPad first. So right here, this is the first generation of the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It's the 128GB version. Back in those days, it was either 64 or 128. Now I believe it's 128 and 256. But regardless, this is it. This is the space gray model. As you can tell, I engraved it in the back with my little logo there and a few of my little tags. That was done in the makerspace. If you haven't watched that video, watch it. It's awesome. I love making stuff, especially in places that are nice laser cutter there as well. I know a lot of people kind of thought that that sleeve for the iPad was a little excessive, but now that I'm not traveling as much with it, this is all I kind of use to kind of not scratch the back when I'm writing. But yeah, so that's the iPad I use. I'm gonna go through kind of the apps as well that are on here. And the most important part with this here, I don't type very much on it. I do a lot more handwritten stuff. You need the Apple Pencil. That is 100% a must. I know it's a little pricier than most of the other kind of styluses, but there's a reason for it. I highly recommend it. Don't buy this if you want to take notes with a different stylus. Just don't even bother. It's gonna write like every other iPad. What makes this so magical is this pencil right here. So these are the two little pieces of equipment that kind of rest in my arsenal when using the iPad Pro. Let me start from the original time I wanted to buy the iPad Pro. Why did I want to buy the iPad Pro? Well, there's a girl in school who had the Surface kind of tablet, the first one, and she was writing, and I was like, you know what, I need that. That is way too cool to pass up. So I bought the Surface, I used it for about a week. I thought I was gonna throw it across the room to my professor's head because it sucked so much in terms of, I don't know, I just didn't like the way it functioned. So I returned it and I patiently waited another 3 months or whatever it took for the iPad to come out from that date. November 11th, 2015 is the first day it came out, and that's the first day I got it, and it was fantastic. So that's kind of how I got it. I wanted to take electronic notes. That kind of fulfilled my need. And when I got it, I absolutely loved it. Loved it. So much so that I've convinced a lot of my friends to actually go out and buy that. I had it, my girlfriend now has it, a few buddies of mine have it. I'm just saying, I'm a trendsetter in my circle of friends of 5 people. It's awesome, it's great. Okay, so now you're probably asking, okay, shut up with all this discussion about why you got it and tell me how you use it in school, or how you used it in school, because now that I'm graduating. Anyways, but the biggest thing for me was the note taking. I didn't want to walk around with all these books and textbooks and binders and all that fun stuff. So all I brought to class was this iPad and the iPad Pencil, and the app that I used to kind of make all of this kind of function and work, Notability. There are several other apps that kind of do the same thing in terms of allowing you to take notes. I just personally really like the way that Notability kind of puts out your notes and allows you to use them and organize them, as well as share them via iCloud to your Mac. I found that my workflow kind of really took advantage of that ability, kind of right on my iPad, and then also have it on my computer when I got home. I thought that was just such a great way of kind of sharing the notes with yourself so that they're everywhere. It's all synced together. Everything's kind of coordinated and works well. I'm sure like a lot of you guys know, the iPad and the iPad Pencil, Apple Pencil are like this ultimate team of note taking. So let me just open up a note here. Let me go into unfiled notes so I don't get any of the other stuff kind of mixed up. And let me show you just how well this combination here works. So if you go to new note, if you're not familiar with the kind of how Notability works, I've made a separate video about this. I'll link it of course down in the description, but check that out. And I just want to enforce how this really works. The way I have it set up is kind of as a lined paper, and just watch this. What should I write? Hello, my name is Mark. Like that. How crazy is that? This is an electronic pencil with an electronic device, and it's writing like I'm using a piece of paper and a pencil or pen. How crazy is that? Look at this detail. Like I'm writing in lines. It's not, whoa, stylist. It's precise, it's accurate, it's fantastic, fantastic device. And not only that, of course, you have multiple colors, you can highlight, you can do a whole bunch of interesting things to help you organize the notes the way you want it. So let me show you what kind of an end result would look like. So what's a good example here? Let's go into reinforced concrete. I went to school for civil engineering, so I guess kind of concrete is one of those materials we use on a daily basis. Okay, so let me show you. So here are my notes for reinforced concrete, topic 4. What is topic 3? Uncracked moment of inertia. Okay, sounds good. But yeah, like look, like I was able to color in my beams, my concrete beams, and shade them accordingly, and just have everything very nice, everything circled, highlighted, detailed breakdown with arrows, calling my notes, all of this great stuff. And this is only handwritten note. What's another great thing about having these notes electronically is you can steal things from your textbook or whatever, and you can kind of follow along a lot better with the professor if he's using those books. So if you go into assignments, what you can notice here is in the assignment, I took a screenshot of that question that I wanted to answer, and I placed it right up on the top of the piece of paper, and I answered it down below. So I would have question 1, A. Here's my answer, B, C, D, and then question 2. And that kind of allowed me to kind of understand and comprehend a little bit better of what was actually going on. I think it's a great tool for you if you're wanting to learn, use, copy, paste, use this kind of as a great device. And of course, in Notability, if your professor uses a lot of PowerPoint presentation, PDFs, kind of gives you the material, it is very easy for you to import. You just go and literally import it. Or if you want it to be a little bit more detailed, you can actually just cut out that piece that you want to use, like I do with the assignments, and you can just write whatever you want around it, and it kind of just works very well. And yes, I know Notability is not the only app that does that. That is kind of the app I kind of kept on going to. I've tried all of them. I've tried so many of the apps. I just keep going back to Notability for the way that it's organized and the way that it kind of allows me to use my Mac and my iPad in conjunction. I just like the layout and how it works. There's a whole whack of note-taking applications that do very similar, but it all kind of comes down to how you see your notes and what you actually want to get out of it. Does that make sense? So now that I've graduated and I'm not so note-intensively using my iPad, what do I use my iPad for? More of the creative kind of aspect, more kind of watching media, YouTube, Netflix, and just using this more as an entertainment device rather than a note-taking device. I of course still do take notes on it, but it's just not as heavily kind of squeezed in here. So some of the apps that I do use more on the regular are Procreate, Adobe Sketch, of course YouTube, Netflix, and more of the entertainment kind of side. But now in terms of the use of Notability, what I use it for now is kind of if I'm on my iPad, kind of on the couch or wherever I may be, and I get this idea for a video, I open up a note and I kind of just start jotting down ideas about that video. Later, when I get back into kind of the studio, I'll look at that and I'll see, okay, this is what I need to do for this is who I need to contact, maybe I'll need someone to help me, maybe a different camera, whatever the case may be. I'll have some of these ideas already jotted down, and because it works so well, it communicates, it works, it's fantastic. I'm gonna say fantastic a million times, just get over it, it's fine, I already know. But yeah, really, honestly, so what was the biggest change between this 2-year period for me is just the amount of time I spend on the iPad. I work full time, so really the available time that I have to do things on the iPad kind of shrunk, but I mean, it's still a relevant device. 2 years later, this is the first generation. This isn't the iPad Pro that came out last year or a couple months ago. This is literally the first device that ever came out as the iPad Pro. This is it, and that's why I'm such a big fan of the whole Apple kind of realm of things. Of course, they do come with some of the quirks and some little problems, but I mean, this is 2 years later, and this device is still 100% relevant and still does things better than some other competition in terms of all of this note-taking abilities. The Surface, I know a lot of people like to compare the Surface to the iPad Pro, but sometimes those don't really fall into the same kind of comparison. I know I made that video of comparing them. I tried to weigh all the pros and cons of both of those devices. They're both fantastic devices. They kind of execute different things, and a lot of people say, oh, the Surface is better because it's a full-blown computer. Correct, 100%. I agree. It can replace a computer. The iPad Pro cannot, but the iPad Pro does what it can a lot better than the Surface doing those same tasks. So if my focus was not replacing my computer but having an electronic note, I think the iPad Pro is a significantly better device for that, at least for me. It's hard to explain. I'm just such a huge fan of this device. All right, I don't really know if that kind of answered any more of the questions that you did have. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a story about how I still use this thing and why it's still relevant and why I think all the people who ask me, hey, should I get the iPad Pro? Always, I will say yes. Yes. Just make sure to get this. All right, guys, if you like that video, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button down below. And of course, for additional brownie points, please follow me on all my social media. Links can, of course, be found down in the description. But for now, thank you, and I will see you on the next one.